Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny.
You know what time it is, so sit back and get ready for the Stafford Voice, your dose of conservative in a world of liberal.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, how you doing? I'm your host, Daniel Stafford, and you are listening to the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. And tonight, we're going to talk about protests at a Trump rally. That's right, somebody wanted to protest the great one. I'm not talking about Mark Levin, we're talking about Donald Trump. Now, before we do so, I want to remind you there are many ways to listen. So, wherever you're at, set the channel as a favorite, whatever you have to do so you don't get left behind. In the case you aren't already following on social media, you can find me over on the Twitters at Stafford Voice or on Facebook. All you have to do is just search for the Stafford Voice. You can stay up to date with some of the postings going on over at thestaffordvoice.com. Again, that's thestaffordvoice.com. Now, before we get started, let's hear a word about our sponsors. Some crowdfunding sites are too liberal and keep more for themselves. Even worse, if they don't like you or someone gets offended, they'll cancel your campaign. But not at RWNJ Funding. They hold true to conservative and libertarian values. Plus, they won't cave to the PC crowd. More importantly, they believe in you. RWNJFunding.com. The right cause, the right values, done right. RWNJFunding.com.
Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Nothing will protect you quite like your sidearm, so why not give it the protection it deserves? Something as strong as the Second Amendment and stands the test of time, and better yet, made in the USA. A Rebel Road Tactical Custom Kydex holster is that and more. Call now and place your order with Rebel Road Tactical at 682-217-4579. Again, 682-217-4579, or online at rebelroadtactical.com. All right. Protests at a Trump rally. Say it's not so. I mean, come on. You gotta admit it was only a matter of time before all the Trump-mania started to catch up to him. But is it all Trump's fault? Or are others to blame? I mean, I would venture to say it's a little bit of both. Trump isn't free and clear with this one at all. Despite the fact that George Soros funded MoveOn.org and the Black Lives Matter movement, and that they planned, organized, and successfully carried out a protest at a Chicago Donald Trump rally, does not remove all responsibility from him. How so? Why would their actions fall on Trump? Well, we need to take a journey in our little time machine back to a press conference Trump held in August of 2015. And to put his comments into context, you got to be reminded that just days before, Democrat candidate Bernie Sanders was holding a rally in Seattle when two Black Lives Matter protesters stormed the stage, taking control of his microphone. So what was Trump's response? Here it is.
I would never give up my microphone. I thought that was disgusting. That showed such weakness. The way he was taken away by two young women. The microphone, they just took the whole place over. And the audience, which liked him, I mean, they were him. They're saying, what's going on? How can this happen? That will never happen with me. I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself or if other people will. But that was a disgrace.
I don't know if I'll do the fighting myself. That will never happen with me. See, Trump isn't shy when it comes to being confrontational. In fact, he's been pretty open about telling his supporters what to do if protesters show up. How so? Here are just two examples.
You know what I hate? There's a guy totally disruptive, throwing punches. We're not allowed to punch back anymore. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. That's true. You know, I love our police, and I really respect our police, and they're not getting enough. They're not. But honestly, I hate to see that. Here's a guy throwing punches, nasty as hell, screaming and everything else when we're talking. And he's walking out, and we're not allowed, you know, the guards are very gentle with him. He's walking out like big high fives, smiling, laughing, like to punch him in the face.
I got a little notice, in case you see, the security guys. We have wonderful security guys. They said, Mr. Trump, there may be somebody with tomatoes in the audience. So if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees. I promise. I promise. There won't be so much because the courts agree with us too. What's going on in this country?
He'd like to punch the protesters in the face. He told supporters to knock the crap out of them. He even offered to pay their legal fees. Seriously, these are the things he says. And we wonder why Trump is drawing in protesters? Maybe, just maybe, they're a little interested in seeing if he'll follow through. The Black Lives Matter group doesn't shy away from violent protests. We've all witnessed their ends of destruction. But that doesn't mean it's okay. What else isn't okay are all the people and candidates out there saying this is a violation of the First Amendment. Seriously? I mean, come on, that's a stretch. If anything, at all, it's a close violation of being able to freely assemble. Black Lives Matter and MoveOn.org have just as much right to assemble as Trump does. However, you can't intrude on someone else trying to peaceably assemble in order to exercise one's right to speak freely. And the more I thought about this, all of these candidates have put themselves out in the public eye, and each of them have had their fair share of hecklers and protesters. These things happen, and it just depends on who can make the most noise. It's no secret Trump knows how to make noise. He's been making tons of noise. But it's really sad when these two groups of people go out protesting a guy who is talking about creating jobs so they can actually afford things in life instead of freeloading off the government. That's right. These same protesters are supporting candidates promising loads of free stuff. Healthcare, free. College, free. Bernie Sanders is out there promising a quote-unquote honest wage. Never mind the economic impact and strain this would put on the middle class. Let's not get off topic. Is Trump to blame or not? Yes and no. And I'm being honest here, he's really the only one getting attention on both sides. Whether you like it or not, his shotgun approach is appealing to many. He hits on so many areas on the target. It looks like it was shot at with a shotgun. So that's where I'm going with this whole shotgun approach. So while you may agree with him on a few things, others will agree on totally different issues. And the same goes with those on the left that he's attracting. So yes, he's bringing some of this on himself. There's an entire movement to stop him from being elected, and it's coming from both sides. As many Republicans who are trying to stop Trump, the Democrats are doing the same thing. It's part of why the large-scale protests are happening. They don't want him to be able to get his message out. And really, if you don't agree with his message, that's not enough to silence him or his supporters. If you don't agree with him, don't detract from someone else who is trying to see what he's all about. Just educate and inform them on the facts. There are enough facts out there that you can provide in order to refute anything that somebody wants to say about the next guy. Don't be afraid to go towards the fire. You can even put a foot in the fire, but don't get so far engulfed that it completely consumes you and takes you down. That's not the path you want to take. Trust me. Now, that's all we've got for right now. And God willing, the Stafford Voice will be back next time around. You can follow me on the Twitters, again, at Stafford Voice, or you can look me up on Facebook by searching for the Stafford Voice. Like the page, hit the follow button, share it with your friends and family. And by the way, if you want to email your questions or comments or even hate mail, you can do so to thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. Again, that's thestaffordvoice@gmail.com. I want to thank you so much for your time in listening to this little podcast. It really means a lot to me. It would even mean a lot more if you would share it on social media after you're done hearing it. And tag me in it. Tag me on Facebook or tag me over on the Twitters. Let me know you listened and whether you liked it or hated it. It's okay. But until next time, thanks and God bless.